Hey everyone, sorry to burst your bubble, but today I'm going to tell you why the American education system is kind of stupid. Now first off, let me say I am not saying we need to dump a bunch of extra money into education because we already spend a lot on it. In fact, it's about 28% above average by nation, according to the National Center for Education Statistics. What I am saying is that for spending a lot higher than average, we should be doing better than 14th place globally. The thing with American education is that we place quantity over quality. PISA stands for Program for International Student Assessment and is a standardized test conducted every 3 years to figure out how different education systems around the world stack up against one another. On the last PISA, the United States scored 497 in reading, 470 in math, and 496 in science, while Finland scored 526 in reading, 511 in math, and 531 in science. So how did Finland get to be so good? Well, it has a lot to do with how they run their schools. There are a lot of differences between the United States education system and the Finnish one, like how they treat their teachers, their respect for the arts, and a lot less spending on athletics. The difference I am primarily concerned with, however, are the scheduling differences. That's right, I'm talking breaks. Brain breaks, to be exact. So the first question probably coming to mind is, what the heck is a brain break? Well, simply put, it's a rest period for both students and teachers. The type of schedule I propose follows the model in Finland and incorporates a 15-minute break for every 45 minutes of instruction time. I like this as a first step for reforming and revolutionizing our education system because it's an easy step that really doesn't cost very much and the benefits are huge. In an article called How Do Breaks Help Your Brain, the author talks about how when the brain gets worn out, you start to experience what she calls decision fatigue. And that is a bad situation because it leads to poor choices and procrastination. Humans are just not designed to function at full capacity for a full school day at a time. Brains get tired just the same as muscles do. To anybody who attended an American school, this probably sounds like a massive waste of time. This isn't necessarily the case though. Think about it. Does it really matter how long you're sitting in the classroom if you're not listening anyway? The thing about brain breaks is they take all the time students already weren't listening and all the time they were just getting more worn out, and it gives them a chance to process information and, get focused on whatever the next thing their teacher's going to talk about. The problem with the current schedule is the extreme lack of consideration for how the brains of students work. If the average adult brain works best if given a 17-minute break for every 57 minutes of work, then students require more frequent breaks because they're in a period of development. They're not done growing yet, and they can't handle 7 hours of straight work. Burning out is a serious concern. It doesn't just impact the students burning out, it affects all the students around them because they're distracted. These burned out students are playing on their phones, they're chit-chatting in class, and what does that do for the kids around them? They'll also perform worse on schoolwork, and it could make it harder to find a job in the long run. So it's not just a school issue, it's a real world issue. Now the next issue in people's heads is probably, well, we have a 45-minute class period, and they do have breaks in between. What do you call the dead zone between classes? I'll tell you what I call it, organized chaos. And too short. Taking a break doesn't mean switching from one stressful situation to another. It means investing some time in relaxing and taking your mind away from work or stress and giving yourself time to process things. I don't know about you, but I've never found time between classes to be ample for data processing. It's easy and fairly common to be concerned about breaks being too long and completely sidetracking students, but according to research, people actually make better choices after some time to dwell on information. The best example I can give is an experiment performed in 2013. Students had their choice of 4 vehicles based on all kinds of information some researchers had put together for them. Half of the subjects had to pick which was the best buy right away, while the other half was distracted by word puzzles for a while before they had to choose. As it turns out, the word puzzle subjects made better choices than their quick-thinking counterparts. I'm not done yet though, because taking breaks has another advantage: health benefits. It is really, really bad for anybody to sit in the same space all day long. This kind of lifestyle can result in diabetes, heart disease, increased risk of depression, and obesity, according to the Business Insider. All you have to do to decrease your chance of having all these diseases is to get up and move around sometimes. It's not that difficult. So how does one go about changing a school schedule? Easy. You start small. Say with one state. Phase 1 of implementing what I call the Brain Breaks Initiative is to inform the Iowa Board of Education of the benefits of brain breaks. To get this done, they're gonna want proof, so I propose we get an expert in psychology and productivity, or even a select group of advanced psychology students to present the cause to the board. Phase 2 is actually getting breaks put in place, and it's gonna take some time. As I mentioned before, this is a pretty big change, so the best way to implement the plan is to add a few grades at a time. So the first year could be kindergarten through 2nd grade, then 3rd through 5th grade, middle school, high school, so on and so forth. This would make it easier to respond to the questions of students, parents, and most importantly, teachers. It would also most likely be necessary to pay a handful of experts to go around and touch base with the instructors who are implementing this. Phase 3 is studying the results of the program and comparing test results with that of other states who don't have breaks. This is something Finland does a lot of, and it's part of how they built one of the best education systems in the world. They research, they see what works, what doesn't, and they build off of it. Phase 4 is tweaking the system in response to research. Some students are going to fare better with different types of brain breaks, especially at different ages. Younger kids might do better with more structure in their breaks, like the junk bag, where kids look at random stuff and find alternate uses for it, or story starters, where they go around the class and add information to the last person's story and they just build a gigantic, big, long class story. Older kids might fare better with less structured breaks, like time to be mindful, or to have meditation time, or, socialize. The cost of implementing brain breaks is pretty small compared to other initiatives. You don't have to hire extra teachers, you don't have to buy a bunch of supplies. The most it'll probably cost is the price of the experts going to touch base with teachers. So, how does Finland get this into their yearly schedules? Do they add time on at the end of the day? Do they go for longer in the year? No. In Iowa, we have a school year of 180 days. In Finland, the maximum number of days they can go to school is 190. Are their school days longer? No. They start later and end earlier than American schools do, and they still outperform us. Finland requires 500 fewer hours of instruction time than American schools do. Quality over quantity, I'm telling you. The Iowa Board of Education should mandate 15-minute breaks for every 45 minutes of instruction for kids K through 12 in the interest of promoting productivity. Kids go out in the world all the time unprepared because they might have been taught it in school, but they didn't learn it. This isn't just a classroom problem, it's a real-world problem. The education system right now is kind of messed up, but it doesn't have to be. There are a lot of factors that go into the Finnish education system, and I'm not saying this is a fix-all for everything, but it's a good start. The best thing a concerned parent can do to get this through: call your board members, email them, start a petition, do something. This is for your kids. This is for the future of our country. By adopting brain breaks into our system, we're not just making an investment in our students now. It's an investment in our future. And that's the most important kind of investment there is.